Oh yeah, we're under a fucking tropical storm. Be alright.
It doesn't get any better than this. Texas OU 113. I want to see this gun work. Wow! What a comeback! He hit it! What a college football game, huh? Are you kidding me? Pulls a rabbit out of his hat. You can question a lot about our football team, but don't ever question our heart. Look out! I love you guys. Sparky. An incredible turn of events. I don't care how we score. He crossed the ball off. Touchdown, Alabama. Don't matter to me. What a comeback this is for the Canes. Sixth touchdown pass. And he stays up. Dances into the end zone. William turns the corner. Look out. Championship drive, who's in? Eventually, it'll be 4 teams. There's 4 of us. There's your recurring theme. I want to know what your biggest takeaway from the weekend was. Jonathan Vilman.
I'm telling you, 4 teams. There's really only 3 spots left. That's because Notre Dame is in the playoffs. Passed their last test against Virginia Tech. Ian Book transformed that offense and that team. I'll see them in the playoffs. What about you?
Let me pause this because they're saying Notre Dame. Dude, Notre Dame beat fucking Ball State. Ball State. Who the fuck is that? 24-16. Get the fuck out of here.
Jim, I'm gonna tell you what, that's dogmatic now. Hey, let me tell you something. My favorite linebackers of all time, Nitschke, Butkus, Vilma. We love defense, right? Defense wins games? I don't know. Hey, 63, 65, 49, 45, 41. You better really score if you want to get to the college football playoffs this year. What do you think, Heather?
Coach, I think Oklahoma's defense was a big problem in that loss to Texas. And when the Sooners lost, so did the entire Big 12. That conference's playoff hopes took a real nosedive on Saturday.
Dinich, I think we already know who the 4 playoff teams are, so let's just shut it down. We don't need to have a show. Don't need to talk about it for the next month. I'm just kidding with you. Who's in? Comes your way next. Welcome to Championship Drive. Who's in? Presented by Capital One. 4 Connor single shots. That's what we need. Top 4 performances from the weekend. How about Mississippi State? I'll tell you what, Nick Fitzgerald had a smile on his face. Well, maybe not. Maybe after he got out of the ice bath last night. 195 yards rushing. Jarrett Stidham did not look great for Auburn, but this is like the SEC, it seems, right now. All these good teams beating each other up. So Mississippi State comes back. Case in point, Florida beats LSU. They got a pick 6 late to seal the deal. So now you got to ask your question about Florida. Are they a contender, or are they just a team that's going to disrupt other teams' hopes, like LSU and maybe Georgia down the road? Notre Dame, yeah, the Irish are clearly a contender, Heather. They took care of business on the road.
Toughest games are behind them, a win out, and they are in.
Took care of Virginia Tech in Blacksburg. That you had, especially on the road with Ian Book and company, that was going to be their toughest test. And then the Red River rivalry here. Sam Ehlinger-Vilmer had an unbelievable day.
Oh, well, Texas is not back, but Texas is definitely relevant. It was a great win. I love Ehlinger stepping up in the big-time moment, making big-time plays.
You never want to say teams are back. You didn't say Miami was back last week. Last week you didn't say Texas is back.
They're not back. Wait, which one?
When you say, what does it mean they're not back? Like,
okay,
back.
So when I remember Texas, they were winning titles. They were winning conference championships. So Texas hasn't done any of that yet.
All right.
They just beat a very good Oklahoma team.
So they're on the track to beat.
Yeah, I said Miami wasn't back.
Okay, just make
Oh, I was very clear about that.
That's for sure. He was definitely on that.
I was very clear about that.
Miami not being back, but they are in position right now because they beat Oklahoma. You look at their wins. USC, TCU, coach, very nice resume they're building, and they're getting better every single week.
They're getting better every weekend. I'm going to tell you what defined them for me yesterday was the fact that Oklahoma came back and tied it. Okay, and so if they were not a mature team that really had bought into this culture, they could have folded it up, and they didn't. They went and won the game with a really good methodical drive. Then they sent out a freshman snapper, holder, and kicker to win it. Okay, that's a team right there that's believing in their coach, believing what he's selling, believing in each other.
Ellinger was phenomenal, too. 5 total touchdowns, 3 on the ground, 2 through the air. And JB, we know that this team, that Ellinger could always do it with his legs, but now he's got these big receivers and he's getting it done through the air. Are they a playoff contender based on the eye test? The schedule, they've got tough games behind them. They've got the schedule plays nicely for them. But what do you think about from the eye test in terms of how good they are?
From the eye test, yes, they are a contender. They're a contender in the Big 12. I don't know if they can compete against the Alabamas of the world. I don't know who can, to be quite honest. But I started looking at the really, really good defenses, the Clemsons of the world, Alabamas of the world, and I don't know if he can replicate that same performance. I do believe he can play very well, and he'll have a good game, but not enough to beat these teams.
What about the Big 12 now, Heather? Oklahoma takes a huge hit, but then Texas is there to sort of fill that void, and now I think we got to look at the Longhorns and look at their schedule to come and say, that might be the team that the Big 12 hangs their hat on.
Well, don't forget West Virginia is the only undefeated
Thank you,
team.
Heather.
I know you.
Carter just
Not just me, but the coach doesn't believe in West Virginia.
No disrespect to West Virginia, but I can't get fired up about them yet. Okay.
Why?
You want to know why?
Yes.
Okay, number one, I don't think they play a physical brand of football. I don't think they play good enough defense. And I love Will Greer's talent, but when a quarterback goes out and throws 3 interceptions like he did yesterday, that's a big deal. It's
In the red zone.
hard to win big if you're turning the ball over like that.
Are you more Texas or more West Virginia for right now?
Well, I think based on what we saw yesterday,
Yeah, he had 3 interceptions. That's how many incompletions Tua Tagovailoa had. 10 for 13, 334 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Texas looked like the better team, and I was at the Texas-Maryland game in the season opener at FedEx Field, and I can tell you that was a completely different Texas team than the one I saw in the opener. The pass protection was much better. I thought that had a lot to do with Sam having a great day, but at the end of the day, guys, we're talking about Notre Dame in the conversation, and when you've got a one-loss Big 12 champ, whether it's Oklahoma or Texas or West Virginia, they're not getting in ahead of an undefeated Notre Dame.
No one's getting in ahead of an undefeated Notre Dame. I think the question everybody out there is asking themselves even is, does Notre Dame run the table? Yeah, they got past the big test against Virginia Tech, and the schedule does not play like it has in previous years in terms of being really tough. But are you? I know you are because you're buying into them running the table.
I bought
them. You locked them.
I locked them because when you watch Winbush the past couple years, you say, oh, he's pretty good, he can run the ball. Even last year when they were all the way up to, they moved up to number 3 in the country, and we said their O-line is great, they can run the ball. But when it was time to make the throws that were needed, he couldn't do it. Now they bring in Ian Book. Ian Book can make all the throws that you need him to make, especially in big games. I mean, what game was bigger than this Virginia Tech? It's 10-9. Almost going into halftime, defense makes a tremendous play. It's 17-9, and they just blow it wide open in the second half.
And they're balanced, though. He finally threw a pick, and they ran the ball.
What about Dexter Williams? We don't even talk about him.
He had over 100 yards.
You know what? I have been resistant to really embrace Notre Dame, and I'm in them. I'm not quite locked like you are.
Yep.
And here's why. You said it, Heather. Everyone's saying they should run the table. That's what a coach doesn't want to hear. Because he's got to keep his players focused on the next game, okay, and the preparation for that game. And if they have any type of letdown, as we know, anyone can beat anyone in football.
Right.
So Brian Kelly, his challenge now to me is keeping his team focused on the game that everyone's telling him, oh, you should run the table. Let's just win this game. But talent and the difference that Ian Book has made, not offensively, but defensively, special teams, and confidence and mindset, really incredible.
Well, he said this week, Brian Kelly said the difference in this team is they're mature. In past years, they said they knew how to win. Now they know. Now they knew why to win. Now they knew how to win.
Passing tests week in and week out. So the 4 of us here on this set, 4 teams are going to make the playoffs. It's all about 4s. How about the top 4 catches of the day yesterday? Let's start on the road with Eastern Michigan here. What a great name, Coach. Gunnar Oaks with the one-handed snag.
Ooh.
Over the top.
I mean, we're seeing these one-handed snags so much now. Jeez.
It's almost like, this is ho-hum. Gunnar Oaks. I like it, though. Iowa on the road taking on Minnesota. Brandon Smith. Let's check out what Brandon Smith's got in line for us.
See, this one I like. This is one of my favorite ones. Going over the top of the defender, using 2 hands, now 1. Look at that. Talk about concentration in all hands. I love it.
not sleep on Iowa in the Big Ten as a team that could really hurt some teams and maybe even play in the Big Ten championship. Washington on the road against UCLA. Aaron Fuller,
I can't even tell you how many times that we worked on looking back for the ball here, Nate Metters. Turn to find the ball, man.
Still coaching.
No, that's why I'm sitting here.
And then finally, LIU post on the defensive side. Now,
This is what we were teaching right here. Find the
Defense,
ball,
baby.
play the ball, go up, attack the ball, grab it with one hand, and then spin it. Swag.
LIU post.
Make
Yeah,
the show with not here.
Spin
Love it.
All right, when we come back, we're going to look at the top individual performances from the weekend, and they were many of them quarterbacks chucking it around the yard, a lot of touchdown passes. And who's in? Yes, our panelists will tell us who their top 4 teams are at this very moment. And trust me, folks, there is some contention. You're going to see it coming up. Coach is sweating it out. His first reveal ever, right here.
Championship drive. Is brought to you by Allstate, reminding you that football season is mayhem.
Take a look at the top 4 individual performances from over the weekend. How about Dwayne Haskins, coach? 6 touchdown passes. He just keeps doing it.
He's got 25 on the year, and you know what? They're all different. He can make every throw in the book. This is beautiful. Rolling to his right, throwing back across his body on the money.
And Ohio State really exploded in the second half to break open a close game against Indiana. Tua, Heather, I mean, what more can this kid do? Every single week he's firing touchdown passes.
He has to be leading the Heisman conversation right now, in my opinion. Nobody has looked better. He's been outstanding.
10 completions for 334 yards. Jonathan Taylor, Vilma, 221 yards on the ground.
Oh, you know I like big, bruising running backs, old school football. Jonathan Taylor, 3 touchdowns, 200 yards. Look at bowling over those guys. I mean, that's imposing your will. I love it.
Yeah, kind of a little anger in those runs as well. We talked about Ellinger earlier in the performance he had for Texas. 5 total touchdowns running and throwing.
And you know what? They put the ball in his hands. It's 3rd and 3, the last drive, right? They give it to him for the touchdown.
There it is
And
right there.
I love the touch passes in the end zone to the big receiver. They call him Little Jordan. He ain't little. That's a big, tall man.
Yes.
Johnson and little Jordan Humphrey. Let's take a look at this week's rankings. Mayhem brought to you by Allstate. According to ESPN's playoff predictor, Oklahoma's loss was heavily damaging. They went from a 33% chance to make the playoff down to just 11. That 21-point drop by far the most among teams to
I mean,
lose
are
on
we even
Saturday.
supposed to put Stanford? Why even have that there?
Ouch!
Look at it. Less than 0.1.
A damaging loss for Stanford yesterday against Utah. All right, guys, let's talk about blind resumes because I want to put 3 teams up here and talk about which one